glad that today we have Mr. Bota with us, who is one of the key fighters of human trafficking in European politics. His report on prostitution, trafficking and modern slavery in Europe, together with the Hannibal report on sexual exploitation and prostitution and its impact on gender equality, are crucial researches showing that prostitution is not a normal industry.
Both in Sweden and in the other countries I visited, representatives of people in prostitution told me that most of them choose this activity out of free will. I listened to them carefully and respectfully, but I don't think what they said was correct. If we can protect better prostitutes with some actions, and not all the ones we would like, it's better than nothing. That's why I have recommendations for all the countries, all the different systems. If you look to the map of Europe and you see how many countries they criminalize prostitution, and if you go there, you find prostitution in every corner of the streets of everywhere. There is a total, I would say, complicity between the political power, between the police, even between the judges and the organizers of the prostitution and the business of sexual services. I was in Europol, in Holland, in Netherlands. You know how many people work on this section? Fighting against trafficking. 6 persons in Europol. How is it possible to coordinate all the efforts and all the investigations in all Europe with 6 people? I met them. So we need more money. This is good money in a good cause. How much more time will society keep the eyes closed? We cannot consent that. And that's why I came to the conclusion of the serious work in my report. And that's why I'm also a militant against trafficking and against this type of prostitution, because it's totally linked. I met some officials in different countries. They were denying the link between trafficking and prostitution. But it's so obvious. So the worst blind is the one who does not want to see. We have our eyes open, we have our conscience alert, and we cannot keep quiet. We have to break the silence, and we have to say, enough is enough. Thank you.
We are deeply touched by your speech, and we are also deeply touched by your engagement. Actually, we need more people that stand up against human trafficking in Europe. We need more people to follow your example. Every year, we present to a person or organization that has done a tremendous effort to promote human rights and human dignity in Europe. We present a prize called the Scandinavian Human Dignity Award. And we have decided that Mr. José Mendes Bota will be the award winner of this year's prize. We want to thank you for your efforts, and please give him a big applause.
There is a close link between prostitution and trafficking on human beings, particularly so in Europe. It's our continent. In our continent, the vast majority of victims of trafficking are trafficked for the purpose of sexual exploitation, which in most cases means they are forced into prostitution. At the same time, I found that most people in prostitution are victims. It's very difficult to have reliable and comparable figures on this. We have to work on the basis of estimations. But all of my sources indicated the same trend. The overwhelming majority of sex workers are not in prostitution out of their free will, but are forced into it.
I had the honor with Bota to be in the Netherlands and to visit also the Dutch NGOs and to hear their views. First of all, if you think about the Swedish model, different models, I really think something is happening in Europe. As Mr. Bota also said, in France, but also in the UK, there was this report about shifting the burden made by the all-party parliamentary group against sexual exploitation. Also in Norway, which is also very interesting, Norway made a very big evaluation report when they introduced the Nordic model in Norway. Then they were very critical. They said like, well, it is nice, but we do it for 5 years, but then we will investigate more in detail. And we make a thorough investigation about it, a thorough evaluation. Well, the report showed actually that it worked there too. So again, there too. But even in the Netherlands also, there are some changes.
One of the problems is that prosecutors are often reluctant or deterred, or for one reason and another, don't initiate prosecution. That's where we are. It's also true that the victims are desperately nervous because of their full experiences, very reluctant to come forward and to accuse. Even surrounded by big, strong, hulking men in uniform, a tiny girl who has seen hideous things will be reluctant to accuse her abuser, to say no more.